Hey, good morning, everybody. Ben here. A couple ideas that I wanted to introduce today. So we talked a lot about money and what is money, and well, not that much. We've talked some about what is money, but hopefully some of those ideas have been helpful to you. I definitely would point you to the What is Money podcast. It's a guy named Kevin Breedlove who has been doing that podcast for a few years, hundreds of episodes talking about what is money. It's a deep, deep subject, but at least hopefully we've introduced some of the key concepts that at least get your gears turning and get you thinking about what money is. I want to switch gears a little bit. Speaking of gears, and start to talk about Bitcoin. So it is a deep rabbit hole. There are so many different paths and tunnels that you can dig into as it relates to Bitcoin. I don't understand it fully. I think if anybody tells you that they do, they probably don't realize their own ignorance. But I did want to just talk about a few things. The first of those is just Bitcoin as the most accurate and honest measure, monetary measure. So because there is a fixed supply of 21 million, that there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin, it is actually the most accurate measure, monetary measure that humankind has yet experienced. Let's compare that to the dollar. So the number of dollars, we don't even know how many total dollars there are. We do know that the total number goes up and has continued to pretty much go up at minimum since 1971 when we were taken off of the gold standard. And think about measuring things with an inconsistent measure. So what if a foot became 14 inches instead of 12 inches? And then 15 inches, and then 16 inches, and then 18 inches, and then 20 inches. How would you, what if your house, instead of being 2,000 square feet, next year you didn't change anything to it, but next year it was 3,000 square feet? That wouldn't make any sense. Yet we do that with the dollar. We don't know how many total dollars there are. The value of an individual dollar has lost and has gone down 99% since 1971. Think about that for a minute. That's wild. Another example that I could think of is like a 2x4. We call 2x4s, lumber. We call them 2x4s, and they started out being 2 inches by 4 inches, but they aren't 2 inches by 4 inches anymore. Go get a 2x4 at Home Depot and measure it. It ain't 2x4 anymore. So being able to measure things requires a consistent unit of measure, and the dollar is not. It just simply is not. Even though we are tricked into thinking that $5 today is the same as $5 20 years ago or 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, and it isn't. So when we hear inflation and prices are going up, it's not really that prices are going up. It's that the value of the dollar, what we can buy with our unit of measure, the dollar, is going down. So in that same vein, this is an idea that probably was shocking to me and took me a while to understand it. But Bitcoin should and will go up in price forever. So I'm going to say that one more time. Bitcoin is going to go up forever. Now, that depends on what you're measuring it with. So if you're measuring Bitcoin in dollars, then Bitcoin should go up. And if you zoom out and look long term, Bitcoin will go up in dollar value forever. As measured in dollars, Bitcoin will increase forever. Also, as measured in gold, Bitcoin will increase forever. As measured in any other fiat currency, in yen, in renminbi, in pesos, Bitcoin will go up forever. So I'm going to let that sink in with you just a little bit. Another way to think about that is if you're measuring in Bitcoin terms, the price of everything will go down forever. So everything forever. And since the inception, since Bitcoin monetized, since the pizza day in 2010 or 11, I believe it was, when someone sent 10,000 Bitcoins for a Domino's pizza or a couple Domino's pizzas, the cost of everything in Bitcoin has gone down. So it's a different concept to think about. I've started to measure and try to price everything in my world, everything in life, houses, cars, everything in Bitcoin. And when you do that, everything will get cheaper forever. So it will take less Bitcoin in the long term. This isn't day to day or month to month or sometimes even year to year. But if you zoom out and think in longer term, and really you only have to think in 4-year increments, which I'll talk about more in a later video. But the cost, the price of everything will go down in Bitcoin terms forever. So start to measure things in Bitcoin and you'll see this. Another way to think about this is that Bitcoin is repricing the entire world. And I'll give a shout out to Jeff Booth for that comment. Also his book, The Price of Tomorrow. I would highly recommend reading The Price of Tomorrow by Jeff Booth. And again, Bitcoin is repricing the world. That's probably good for today. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed day.